he never lived long enough to become controversial. But in death, his name would be pulled into debates, conspiracy theories, and industry disputes that only deepened his legend. Sir, born Isa Emari Wangi, was widely known not just for his talent, but for his humility and clean reputation. During his short career, he avoided scandals entirely. Yet after his tragic passing, a series of unsettling narratives began to surround his legacy. One of the most haunting discussions came from what many believe were eerie premonitions of his death. According to his brother, Habib, Sir made a chilling remark before leaving for his final performance, telling him to stay behind and take care of their mother, as if he somehow sensed he might not return. Even more unsettling were lyrics in his song Hamunitishi, where he hinted at not wanting to die without his fans knowing. To many, those words would later feel less like poetry and more like prophecy. After his death, darker conspiracy theories began to circulate. Some falsely accused his close friend and collaborator, Nameless, of being involved in ritualistic sacrifice, a baseless and deeply hurtful claim that both the family and Nameless have repeatedly dismissed. In truth, Nameless would later reveal he struggled with survivor's guilt, believing Sir had unknowingly saved his life by asking them to switch seats shortly before the crash. There were also debates about his legacy itself. Some critics controversially argued that his fame was amplified by his death rather than his talent. But this narrative was quickly rejected by fans and fellow artists, who pointed out that Sir was already dominating Kenyan airwaves while alive, with hits that had redefined urban music. Even decades later, his name continues to surface in modern industry disputes. Artists have faced backlash for sampling his music without proper authorization, reigniting conversations about ownership, royalties, and respect for his work. These moments serve as reminders that his influence never faded, it only evolved with time. Yet beyond the controversies that followed his death lies the story of a young man whose life was marked by brilliance from the very beginning. Isa Emari Wangi was born on May 20th, 1981 in Nairobi, Kenya. He spent his early childhood in Eastlands before being raised in South C, a neighborhood that would later become central to his identity. He was the third of 5 children, born to Damaris Wangi and Amin Emari, blending Kenyan and Tanzanian heritage. From a young age, Sir showed signs of both academic excellence and creative talent. He attended St. Anne's Junior Academy before joining Brooke House School, where he followed the British curriculum. It was there that his love for music began to take shape. Known among peers as one of the brightest students, he balanced academics with a growing passion for writing lyrics and poetry. His journey into music began quietly but decisively. While still in school, he started crafting verses, experimenting with sound, and developing a style that fused Swahili lyricism with hip-hop rhythms. His big break came in 1999 in Mombasa, when he stepped in for a missing performer at an event and left the audience captivated. That moment would mark the true beginning of his career. Soon after, he joined Agopa DJs, a move that would define his musical path. Under the label, Sir refined his signature sound, a blend of rap, melody, and what would later be recognized as kapuka or boomba music. By 2001, he had burst onto the national scene with his breakout hit, Joe. What followed was a string of unforgettable tracks: Boomba Train, Mos Mos, Leo Ni Leo, Hamunitishi, and Kamata. Each song showcased not only his lyrical skill, but also his ability to connect with audiences across Kenya. Despite his rising fame, Sir remained deeply grounded. He maintained close relationships with those around him, especially his brother Habib, his longtime friend Big Pin, and Nameless, who was both a collaborator and a brother figure in the industry. His personal life remained largely private, though it later emerged that he had relationships with media personality Talia Oyando and university student Yvonne Nkatha. Contrary to public speculation, he was not romantically involved with his collaborator, Brenda Nganga. At just 21 years old, Sir was at the peak of his career when tragedy struck. On March 16, 2003, while returning to Nairobi from a performance in Nakuru, he was involved in a fatal road accident along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway near Gilgil. The vehicle lost control and rolled multiple times. Sir died on the spot alongside another passenger, while Nameless survived with injuries. His death sent shockwaves across the nation. 2 months later, his only album, Nimefika, was released posthumously. It became one of the most influential and best-selling albums in Kenyan history. That same year, he swept the Kisima Music Awards, winning Best Male Artist, Best Hip-Hop Artist, Best Album, and Best Song. Though his life was brief, his impact was immense. He helped prove that Kenyan music could stand shoulder to shoulder with international sounds. His music, still played decades later, continues to inspire new generations. Sir did not leave behind wealth in the traditional sense, no mansions or vast properties. Instead, his true legacy lies in his intellectual property, his music, his influence, and the cultural shift he ignited. His family continues to receive royalties from his work, ensuring that his voice still echoes in the modern era. In Nairobi's South Sea, where he once lived and dreamed, his memory remains alive, not just in streets and tributes, but in every beat of Kenyan urban music. Sir didn't just rise fast, he changed everything, and then he was gone.